Broadcasting from an undisclosed location under a farm pond somewhere in the Midwest. Your host is Jim Crowley. This is Slickfish Radio. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Hope everything is going good. There, hopefully here. So as you can see, we have a brand new backdrop today, and we're hoping to have Randall Tharp on tonight. It looks like we have some connection problems right here. So if we have to reschedule Randall, we will. But I want to tell you about everything that's new right here. And first of all, we'd like to welcome our brand new title sponsor, which is American Tackle Company. American Tackle, always raising the bar when it comes to new components. That's what I build all my rods with. They're the 6-time award winner. And there is Randall. Holy cow. Win. You did it, man. You did it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure we were going to get it done. It was not looking good, but yes, I made it.
Well, good, because I'm doing an intro to the show right now. Sarah, thank you. She's probably having a heart attack over there. She was so nice to talk to me yesterday.
She handles pressure well. She handles pressure well.
She did great, because I got a link. It's like, oh my goodness, and I'm like, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. Well, worst comes to worst, we can reschedule. There's your smile in the background. I caught you there, Sarah. Nice to see you. She was so wonderful on the phone yesterday. I'm so glad to have you, man. It's just cool. I'm just glad to have you. Let me get some of the sponsor things out of the way here, and then we will get right to it. Okay.
Sounds good, Jim.
Okay. So I'm so glad to have Randall. He's one of my favorites. I love the guy. I love his fishing. I'm glad he's here. So we want to tell you that American Tackle is a brand new sponsor. Of course, Dakota Lithium, who started with us. We love Dakota Lithium. If you're on the grid, off the grid, get rid of that old battery. Do what I did. I went to Dakota Lithium. Why? Half the weight, twice the power. Why would you not go with Dakota Lithium? They're absolutely awesome. So thank you to American Tackle, and thank you to Dakota Lithium. Now I'm going to bring in the guest that we waited for, and I'm glad he's here. Here is Randall Tharp. Man, thank you so much, buddy. And Randall and I, just so you guys know, just a little back history. We only met once. We met a couple years ago at Red Chris, and I don't expect you to remember that. I was telling Sarah that with all the people you meet. But one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show is because I'm just going to get this right out there. I like that when you catch a fish, you're not a deck dancer, man. You just get the fish in. It's done. It's time to go to work. I just love that. I just love that. There's no just time to go to work. And I just love that. And I'm a shallow water guy. I love throwing a jig. So I had Bill Lowen on here before, and I'm like, I got to get an MLF guy in there. And the first guy I thought of was you. I'm like, I got to get him on there so we can talk some jig fishing. But we're going to have some people commenting in live here. So I'm just going to say, here's a couple guys. Kevin Landers. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Yes, American Tackle is awesome. So glad to have them here. And guys, if you have some questions while we do this, please feel free to answer, or ask. And maybe Randall will tell you, forget it, I'm not answering that. No, I'm sure he won't. But we'll get some good stuff from him. But I got to ask you a question for me first and foremost. I love the hat, but how in the world did you get the name Honey Badger? I got to know that.
It's kind of a long story, and that goes all the way back to I would say my early FLW days, before I even fished the Elite Series. Okay. One of my best friends now his name's Rob Newell. He's been doing on the water coverage since I met the guy. He actually used to be a Bass Pro years ago, but the very first national event I won, he covered, and we've been friends ever since. But he nicknamed me that years ago based on a video that went viral on YouTube. So if you haven't watched that video, I would recommend just go on YouTube and put in the Honey Badger. Okay. And I believe that the one that pops up first is going to say the Honey Badger narration by Randall. And that's ironic that that's my name. But if you watch that whole video and you think about how that pertains to bass fishing and tournament bass fishing, that's actually where my nickname came from. And Rob gave me that name. Then Zona got a hold of it, and it just stuck. So I just kind of own the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, but that video about the honey badger, it's real similar to bass fishing in a lot of ways. So that's how I got it.
Well, good, because I read a little bit on a honey badger. I'm like, I'm going to have to ask him because at first I'm thought maybe he likes sweets. I don't know what the hell. So I just figured I'd ask. I didn't know. I figured but no, that's good. So you guys heard Randall there. Go back and watch that video. I'm gonna. But that's good to know. And I know I don't know Zona personally, but just knowing his personality from watching him enough, if he gets a hold of something, sweet goodness, it's going to be all over the place. So for sure. Hey, one thing I want to do is I wanted to ask his question because I'm going to tell you, you're the first person on this show that I remember, and we just started this back about a year ago. I actually had a buddy of mine say, "You've got to do this. You've got the other show. We want to hear how goofy you can get when it's live because nothing can go wrong live, right? Ever. So we just figured that we would just do this. But this is a cool question because I've never everybody I know except for you is never been in this position. 2013, you won the Forest Wood Cup. That's $500,000. That's not good. To be in that mindset alone. I used to fish tournaments. I still fish little tournaments, but years ago I fished a lot of tournaments. That's how I started in this. But anyway, I still have a hard time comprehending that. To be in a position to have a chance at $500,000 is one thing. Two, to hold it together not only the day before, but as a tournament fisherman, I'm thinking, what about the night before? Did you sleep? Could you sleep? You knew you had to be close. Can you go over a little bit? Because that's something that most people, 99% of people out there will not have the chance of ever being in that position. That happened to you and you pulled it off. I really, that was the first time that I remember seeing you. And I just thought this is so damn impressive just because I would get nervous at a $2,000 tournament the night before. $500,000, buddy, that's life-changing. Please, what happened?
Well, was I nervous? No, not really, not one bit. But I would tell you this: like, I had fished Bassmaster Classics before.
Right.
I had contended for a cup win before. I finished in 2011. I finished second at I believe it was in Hot Springs at Lake Ouachita. So I had been in that position before, and I think those experiences, fishing a championship, top level tournament like the Classic or the Cup was at that time, if it wasn't for those previous experiences, I probably would have been nervous. I probably would have let it gotten to me, but I'd been there several times. So, and I went and pre-fished. It was at the Red River where I won. And
right.
I went and pre-fished for 3 days. I drove from my house to Red River. I practiced 3 days, and when I came home, and you can think it's cocky or whatever. I told my wife at that time, I was like, no, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm going to win this tournament. And I've had that feeling a few times in my career where I just knew what I was doing. It was a perfect strategy. It was a perfect plan. And, what I do is I talked about this today, ironically. I was on the water all day. But what I do is catching the fish is honestly, it's the easy part. It's outsmarting the guys you're competing against. You got to, a lot of times the best bite on a particular body of water is not the one you want to fish because everybody uncovers that. And by the end of the tournament, it doesn't work. But I was pretty confident there. I was fishing a way that I feel like I swam a jig for the majority of the tournament. I caught a few flipping, and the final day I caught them on a frog, and those are some of my specialties. So, I didn't feel like there was anybody in the field on that particular body of water that could beat me that week. And I felt that way before it ever started. And I'll tell you another funny story about the tournament. And if you want to know if I got nervous or whatever, but at 11:45, the first day of that tournament, I had not had a single bite. And we had co-anglers for the first 2 days, and my co-angler had 3. So, but I wasn't going to change what I was doing. I was either going to be a hero or zero. And by 1 o'clock that day, I'd caught the biggest stringer of the tournament. So, it kind of verified my practice strategy, my whole plan. And it, at the end of the week, it just worked out. I think I won that tournament by like 4 pounds. So I'll take it. $500,000. It did go a long ways. And, it legitimizes you. Like I've won national level tournaments before that, but winning a championship event is pretty special. And, there's a few championships I haven't won yet. And that's why I'm still out there working hard every day like I did today.
And you guys know this, and I'm sure Randall knows this now too, that when you win a tournament like that, any tournament, $500,000, you're husband of the year for at least a week, and then everything else goes out the window. But at least for a good solid week, he was in really, really good shape. I thought that was impressive, and it's neat. I don't think it's cocky when you back it up. And your performance has always been consistent. When somebody's cocky, they usually can't back it up. When you're confident, then you can back it up, and there's a reason why. And as an angler at any level, you better be confident in what you're doing, or all you're doing is donating your money. And you've always been consistent. You've been good out there. What I like, one question I asked the guys on here that have done either Tackle Warehouse or MLF is when you made the switch, because I always like to see how, not why you made the switch, but what it took to get used to the format to the other one. From the other one. So how was it for you switching from one format to another?
It's been extremely difficult for me, to be honest. Like I came in at the first season with the attitude I wasn't going to change. I was going to do my thing. And you know what? I had the first, honestly, 3 seasons at MLF were pretty solid. Like I made the championship the first 2 years, right. But I also felt like not changing, I wasn't going to have a chance to win. And I'm super competitive at anything I do, not just fishing, but so I have had to change. And I would not say that I figured it out. I think there's obviously, you look at the guys that's been successful on our tour, the Ott Defoe, Jacob Wheelers, they've obviously figured it out. I think the format suits them, but it's a totally different strategy for practice, for the way you approach an event, and for what I talked about outsmarting your competitors. It's a totally different game we're playing at Major League Fishing right now. And it's evolving. It's changed. Like, we started doing one thing and it's kind of evolved to what we're doing now. I think it's going to continue to evolve. They're just trying to do what's best for the sport of bass fishing. And I'll tell you this, it's an intense 7.5 hours that we tee it up out there every single day. And it doesn't matter if you're in 40th place or if you're in first place, there's no place that's comfortable at Major League Fishing. So I do think that it has made me a better angler. And I'm curious, like this year, I've actually signed up for a lot of tournaments. I'm going back and fishing the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit this year, which is a 5-fish limit thing. So we're going to see how I've evolved over the last, 3 years of doing every fish counts thing.
Well, we'll see, but I'm sure it's just going to add to. By the way, Jim Colba just chimed in. Hi, Jim. Good to see you. Kevin Landers is here. Great to see you guys. If you guys have any questions or anything, just make your comments. I know a lot more people are going to see this after we go live. Matter of fact, Randall, just stay right there. I'm just going to take a break for a second because we're going to let people know where we're at, and then we'll come right back.
Okay.
Slick Fish Radio with Jim Crowley can be seen and heard on Roku, Fire TV, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iTunes.
All right, we're back with Randall Tharp. Thanks for joining us again, Randall. Glad you stuck around. He hung in this long, folks. He's halfway through it. Good to go. I want to talk a little bit. You're a big jig guy, so am I, and I absolutely love to fish a jig. Now you've got a newer jig or one that you've worked on. Talk a little bit about some of your products, and because I always love hearing what people do with their stuff and how they tweak it. So tell our viewers, tell our listeners a little bit about this Randall Tharp jig.
Yeah, I've been with a few different companies. Like I'm always tinkering. Like I build jigs myself, swim jigs, flipping jigs. We're in the kind of process right now. And I've actually caught fish today on a prototype jig that and I start with a hook, and I've got a hook that nobody else has in the world right now except for me. and today went pretty well testing that hook. So, that the whole jig fishing thing's constantly evolving. And it's just small little tweaks. I mean, there's only so much you can do with a hook and some lead or tungsten and a skirt, but it's something. I cut my teeth in Alabama, and there's some great jig fishermen in this state. And, there's a lot of different rivers that flow through here, and that's how it started for me. The Coosa River swim jig thing is a pretty unique deal around here. The Florida big flipping jig is a kind of unique thing, but my favorite thing is just a half or a 5/8 ounce with a Zoom big salty chunk and go to work. Whether it's on a rock bank or a boat dock or blowdown, like that's still to me as good as it gets in bass fishing. Like when I won the Elite Series at Bull Shoals, like I just put a half ounce and a 5/8 in my hand and I flipped for 4 days, and it just worked out that I won. So
for guys who, I always said that the two most intimidating baits in bass fishing, for guys that don't fish them a lot, are 1, a jig, and 2, a jerk bait. And that's just the one that people have asked me about the most. And I love fishing both of them, depending on when you have to do it. But if it just comes right down to anything, both those, when I'm fishing smallies, I could throw a jerk bait all day long and be happy with it. But when I'm fishing for largemouth, that's my comfort zone. If all else goes to heck in a handbasket, that's when I feel most comfortable. Now, I want to pick your brain on something, because you've been doing this a long time, and from one jig fisherman to another. I've tried to explain this. I've talked about people this, but I really want your take on this. How important do you feel it is to learn what the head design that you're fishing with, how it comes through cover? In other words, not swishing 4 or 5 different jig designs or whatever, because they're all going to come through cover differently. I think as an angler, you have to find the one that comes through the cover most from you, because to be the most productive with that, you have to know what to expect from that lure. Am I correct in thinking that, according to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes outside of just jig fishing, like being efficient in fishing. Yep. So you obviously, I don't want to go flip a rock bank with a bullet head jig. It's just going to get hung up all day. So, and you don't want to throw a big, a ball nose jig in a grass bed. So there's not one jig that'll do it all. I think if you ask me, or I bet 9 out of 10 guys that make a living fishing are going to, if you gave them one lure, it's going to be a jig, because you can do so many different things. You can fish vertically, you can fish horizontally, you can fish any kind of cover, and you can fish it at any depth, whether you're fishing 30 foot deep with a football jig, or 2 foot deep swimming jig in grass, or flipping. But the majority of what I prefer, my strength is fishing it vertically. Sure. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Like I'm strictly fishing straight up and down. I'm not dragging it. I'm not working it. I'm not hopping it. Like I'm trying to make a fish react with something that drops right in front of his nose. And that's I just love it, man. I just love catching a fish that way. And I still say that, for some reason, as a tournament fisherman, I want to catch a big one. So I don't need to go out there and catch 100. I need 5 good bites. And I think a jig does as good or a better job than any other lure 12 months out of the year than any other thing. Now, there's times for a rattle trap. There's times for a jerk bait. There's times for topwater baits where those baits shine. If you just gave me one, it's just going to be a jig year round.
All right. Now I'm gonna contrast this with something else, because I read recently that not only are you a big jig guy, but there is something about, I hate to pull this out on you, there is something about a Ned rig that you kind of like a little bit, and it's hard. It's hard to admit it. It's like the first step is admitting, dude. It really is. But that Ned rig can be brutal. And I'm telling you what, I'm one of those. I love to fish a spinning rod, but when that thing first came out, I'll admit I'd be one of the first guys that said that is the dumbest looking piece of plastic I've ever seen, and it just flat out works. So how do you feel about that? Because I just read that you're kind of maybe starting to kind of like it a little bit.
Yeah, I've catched quite a few tips with that thing, and I'll just tell you, like I was fishing a cup event. We don't get to practice for those. It was on one of the Finger Lakes up there, and I remember probably around, but I could see smallmouth swimming everywhere. They were everywhere, and I think we caught like 2 fish in the first period or something. I was literally at my last resort, and Zoom had sent me some. It's called down worm, but it's a worm they made Ned rig.
Mhm.
And at last resort, I promise you, the very first catch I ever made with a Ned rig in my life, I caught a 3-pounder. So I've been a fan ever since, and that's how it started. I caught the last tournament day I fished at the river this year. I caught a 6'8" smallmouth on it, which is a little stressful with a small hook. But I caught up big on it, and it just flat out catches big smallmouth. So
It does.
I don't claim to be an expert. It's not my favorite way to fish, but I can tell you this: it just flat out gets on fire.
It's just another great thing to add to your arsenal. One more thing I want to talk to you about, or a couple more things. But anyway, you're a big saltwater guy too. You love that saltwater, don't you?
Yeah, I live on the coast of Florida, and I don't get to go as much as I would like to. But I've done everything from offshore fishing to near shore. And now I kind of started inshore, and now I've kind of gone back. I've got a little hole in the tip now, and believe it or not, on the weekends now you might find the honey badger with a fly rod in his hand, if you can believe that.
Well, but I'm the same way. I'm not so much the fly rod, but if it's got fins, I want to catch it, and I love fishing redfish. One thing I did saw that one of the things you really do like is catch triple tail, and that's a bucket list fish for me, just because I haven't had the opportunity to do it. Now, do you have any good? I know you like to cook too, so do you have any grilling recipes for that triple tail?
The triple tail is so good; it's hard to mess it up. Normally, I put a little olive oil on it and salt and pepper's all it needs. It doesn't need a whole lot of attention, and you can throw it on the grill. I don't really fry that or blacken it. It's just a good solid piece of meat for the grill. And actually, a piece of triple tail is like a good ribeye steak. It's got a lot of fat in between the veins of the fish. It's a super white piece of meat, and it's really firm. And actually, if you want to know what's really good, is the cheeks out of a triple tail. So it's actually even
just like
better
walleyes then. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, if you catch you a nice 12 to 15 pounder, then the cheeks are pretty good size little medallions of some pretty good meat.
Oh, cool. I got a question here. One of our guys that says, wants to know is how does the heavy hitters differ from the rest of the tournaments? Because there's a bunch of different things going on in MLF, and once in a while I'll hear you guys say, "Oh, this is for heavy hitters." So can you explain that a little bit, just for some of us that don't know?
Yeah. So what they did is, I believe it was the first year they decided the second year they're going to that tournament. So, and I guess it's an incentive for us to target big fish. And I've been fortunate enough to qualify for everyone the heavy hitters. This year they only took, I believe, the top 30 this year, and I think I qualified about 15th this year.
Good.
But so every event I fish, the heaviest bass that you catch goes to your total weight. So we fish 7 events. So there's 7. So it's basically just a total weight for the 7 events. And, that's how you qualify for the event. And if you do the math on it, as far as the money that I'm making for the heavy hitters event, if it all the stars on you fish every single day, you could win more money at that than our championship or anything else.
Wow.
Because I think it pays $50,000 a day and maybe $100,000 to the final day just for catching a big fish, plus a payout on top of that if you're doing well in the event. And Michael Neal, they've done a lot of guys capitalize on that in a big way since they started that tournament. And I have qualified for it every year. It's different. There's a lot of strategy, just like with any other tournament. But you can change. I mean, you really don't have to fish to try to make it to the next round. You could pull out a 8-inch swim bait or a jig on as big as my hand and try to get that $50,000 early money and not really care if you get more than one bite a day. So I've enjoyed fishing it. The one next year is on Lake Palestine in Texas. Been there. I hear it's full of big ones. So, we'll see. I believe that tournament's about March or April next year.
Oh, that'll be perfect. I mean, that could be perfect. And that is exciting. I always love that about MLF is you go to lakes sometimes that none of you guys have ever been to, And then you find out that there's big fish in it and everybody's kind of going crazy. And then the stress of the score tracker really lights up. I'm the guy on the couch who's jumping off the couch going, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And wishing I was there, but I'd probably be freaking out. And it's just cool to watch you guys. Randall, I really enjoy it. I thank you so much. And you and Sarah. And Sarah, thanks again for hooking us up. She was great talking to you yesterday. Randall, please tell everybody how they can find out more about you so they can follow you like I do.
Yeah, the best way is just follow me on social media, my Instagram or Facebook, my website, randy@randytharp.com. Any of that stuff has links to my social media. And I mean, most of that stuff is updated daily. I have a lot of giveaways. We gave away some gloves, some Fish Monkey gloves today, and I'm giving another pair away tomorrow. If they want to go to my Facebook right now and make a comment, I'm going to choose another winner in the morning before I hit the water again. So, Fish Monkey's an awesome company.
Yeah, they are.
I wore their gloves for a couple of years before I worked for them this year, and we've given away a lot of good product. And I think we've sold quite a few gloves from this year, and they're still a good product. So.
They do.
So check that out.
Yeah, I've talked to them at ICAST. Great people, make an absolutely fantastic product. Glad you're hooked up with them. Hey, I'm going to let you go. All the best, man. I'm going to continue to follow you. Thank you so much for your time. The listeners appreciate it. We're going to be, after tonight, we'll be on Spotify. We'll be on iTunes. Landa Malone said, hey, guys, Rodney Hubbs goes, fun show. That's what we aim to be here. We aim to be a fun show, guys. So that's good. Make sure you follow Randall, keep up with him. And Randall, I know we didn't have a lot of time to talk about arc rods. Actually, you guys are right across from where I was working at ICAST. You were, I was in the American Tackle booth, and I was going to come over and see you there, but we got swamped. You were swamped. Last year was great. This year or next year, I'm hoping is going to be even better. So God bless you, all your fans. I really appreciate you being on the show, man. All the best. Hope to run into you at ICAST next year. I'll be pulling for you, man. You're a shallow water jig guy. I know you do the other stuff too, but I like when the jig guys do good. I just do. So, man, all the best to you, my friend. I sure appreciate your time and appreciate your enthusiasm. And thanks for getting back to me. You helped us with a great show tonight, and I really, really appreciate it. Take care, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Jim. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye. That was Randall Tharp. What a great guy. So appreciate him being on tonight. Chris Bennigan, thank you. Yeah, thanks, guys. Oh, my lovely wife chimed in. Hi, Rhonda. Nice to have you here. For those of you joining us late, let's tell you a couple things tonight. Obviously, you notice a new backdrop. This is Slick Fish Radio. You're going to be able to find us now on Facebook and YouTube, but also you're going to be able to look for us and find us on iTunes, on Amazon Music, as well as Spotify. We're also going to have a page on Roku and Fire TV. We are brought to you by our new title sponsor, which is American Tackle Company. Nobody makes better components. Nobody raises the bar more than American Tackle. That's what I build all my rods with. The award-winning microwave guide. Nobody's won more awards in the industry than a microwave guide when it comes to components. Hey, and by the way, just so you anglers out there know, American Tackle is looking for pro staff. So if you want to find out more about American Tackle and all they offer the industry and to the rod builder, look up American Tackle. You can find them at americantackle.us. Also, first people to hop on with us, we love them, Dakota Lithium. They are what I always tell you, and I mean it, whether you're on the grid, off the grid, get rid of that old battery. Twice the charging power, half the weight. Dakota Lithium. Nothing's better. Nothing runs stronger. Nothing runs longer than Dakota Lithium. I also want to show you guys a couple other things here. Just in case you're building lures this year, you see me talking about Lure Parts Online, go to Lure Parts Online right now. You got a code, JC Outdoors 10. You get 10% off. Prime One Camo, who's been with us for years, and we love them. Some big news coming up about them in the future. Go to Hero One or go to Prime One. You can get here, put the code in Hero One. You will get 15% off or get a percentage off there. 15, I think it's 15%. Might be 20, but I think it's 15. Fish419.com. Best sunglasses on the planet. I love them. Put in the code, thanks, JC. You will get a discount. We support autism anglers. God bless you all at Autism Anglers. You do a great job. Put in the code JC10. Last thing to show you, if you like this hoodies I was wearing last season on the other show, Jim Crowley Outdoors, put in the code hoodie 2021. You will get 20% off that hoodie right there. So that is everything for this week. Thanks again so much to Randall Tharp. If you guys have any more questions or comments, please make sure you let us know, and I'll do my best to answer them. Appreciate all of you. We are growing and growing bigger, and we are doing that because of all of you. God bless you. Until next time, we will see you on Slickfish Radio.